What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Tabbie Talks video podcast. For those of you who are new here, my name is Tabbie. And for those of you who are not new here, thank you so much for joining me time and time again. I appreciate your support and your love and your comments and your feedback. And for some of you, you might know that I have taken a little bit of a hiatus over these last couple weeks. And really, I don't have much of I guess what would be considered a good reason, other than it just felt right. I needed a little bit of a reprieve. I just needed to take a break and kind of reconnect with myself. And I hope that it serves you well, because it certainly is serving me well. So today we are talking about thoughts are things and unplugging. So right as I'm starting to get into it, just a reminder of my disclaimer. Everything I talk about here comes from my heart. It's sort of my gut feeling or intuition, and it's based on a collection of my life experiences and my personal takes on the matters that I choose to talk about. So again, first and foremost, let's start with thoughts are things. And with that, I feel like not only have you heard me say it a gajillion times, but I'm sure that you have heard people say that in a lot of different places. They talk about it, thoughts being things in terms of positive affirmations and how you look at the world, and you read it in quotes and in books and on the internet. If you're, pursuing something, I feel like it's just a very common expression, and that can be good and bad. And so let's talk a little bit about the bad. When you're just starting off on your personal journey of positivity, I feel like so often, because thoughts are things is something you hear so frequently, you can sort of get in your own head about it, and then you can sort of undo the good that it's supposed to be doing. Meaning, when you hear thoughts are things, and you start to practice it, and you start to implement it, and you start to take it as part of your newfound beliefs, then you start worrying about the thoughts that you're having that aren't good. And then you sort of get into this cycle of like, oh my God, I was thinking about that. And does that mean that everything is going to happen, as I was thinking it? And I say yes and no. Yes, the things you do think about do hold weight. And I do believe in the law of attraction, just that the predominant thoughts in your head are the things that attract things to you. So things. I keep saying things. But so if you're predominantly negative, if you're predominantly thinking about bad things, if the majority of your time is spent in an anxious state of mind, a fearful based state of mind, an angry based state of mind, chances are your world, your reality around you is going to be mostly made up of things that are similar to that. So chances are, if you are pretty negative and angry and not appreciative of things going on, and you're really scared about whatever's happening in the world, you're probably going to leach those things out into your world, meaning your kids might aggravate you more. You might get aggravated or irritated at work. You might have a short temper or be more irritable. And so yes, in those situations, when your mind is predominantly negative, I do believe that thoughts are things, and therefore your world will reflect what's going on in your mind. But the other side of that is true as well. So if you spend the majority of your time in a happy state and in a hopeful state and in an optimistic state, chances are your world is going to reflect that as well. Now, everybody has fears, anxieties, things that we want to try to avoid in the future, because we don't want our reality to be disturbed. Whatever we feel is going to make us okay, we don't want to disrupt that. We don't want bad things to happen. We don't want, real life things, like you don't want your refrigerator to break, and you don't want anybody to get sick, and you don't want to get into a car accident. And certainly, depending on how much you're thinking about those things, I feel you can turn those into a reality. But generally speaking, if you are predominantly happy and positive, I feel your world will be predominantly happy and positive. And so I don't want any of you, if you are on this new journey of thinking positive and trying to have a better life, don't worry about those fleeting thoughts. Everybody gets nervous. Everybody gets anxious. Everybody has a little bit of fear. The key to your thoughts being your reality, I think, is when you start to notice, when you recognize that your mind is heading down that negative path, to reel yourself back in, and then you detour yourself with a positive thought, something that is more resonates in a way that makes you feel good, in a way that makes you want to continue thinking about that. So yes, I believe thoughts are things, and that could be good or bad, but I don't want you to worry about the little thoughts. The little thoughts aren't really a big deal. We have so many thoughts in a day. I've seen it in a number of different platforms, and I'm talking about, I think I've seen it where it said we have 20,000 thoughts in a day. Another one said 40,000 thoughts. And either way, having that many thoughts, you're bound to have ebb and flow. You're bound to have negative emotions and thoughts along with your positive ones. But I think our goal, and I think our job, in order to live better lives and to be more thankful and appreciative, is to take control and understand that you have control over the thoughts that you think to a degree. So just focus on controlling the thoughts that you recognize you're in control of. Because I feel like when sometimes I'll notice that like a negative thought will come in, and it's almost like I didn't even put it there to begin with. It's almost like it just sort of creeped in, and it's when I start realizing, oh God, I'm starting to think something bad, that is the moment where I get to control. That's where I'm now the driver, versus it being just a passive thought. So I really hope that helps, and I feel like the reason I wanted to talk about one other thing, which is unplugging, is because I feel that is a pretty big key to your thought process. So I know out in the world right now, there are so many things going on. I mean, from politics to viruses to sex trafficking, all of those things are so prevalent and getting so much attention on every Facebook media platform that we're a part of. And I wanted to remind you that you are an energetic being. We all are, okay? We're based off of our energy. Think about like on the days where you're really happy. Tell me that you don't feel like you have an abundance of energy coming from somewhere. And the same goes as when you're feeling sad and depressed. Your energy level is down. You don't want to do anything. You have lack of motivation, depression, things like that, right? You don't really want to get off the couch. And again, the reverse of that is when you're positive. You got all this motivation and all this intention and all of this oomph to just go and get things done. So if we go with that thought, if we try to run with the idea that we are energetic beings, right? And that's our spirit or the source, wherever is beyond this physical body, then by tuning into the things that are depleting and bringing our energy level down, I want you to imagine yourself as like being plugged in, but not in a good way. And plugging in to, I guess if you just want to look at it, like imagine you are a phone charger and you're connected to the phone, right? And you could either choose to take that charger and plug it into something good and positive, or you can take and choose to plug yourself into something bad and draining. And I feel like everybody can really relate, because we know how important it is to charge our phone at the end of the night. But just the same as it's important to charge our phone so that it can function properly the next day or even the next minute, it needs to be plugged into a good source of power, right? So it has to be plugged in to not only the right type of outlet, but it also has to be plugged into a working, functioning, properly volted source. So think about that. What are you plugging yourself into? What is draining your battery? What is bringing your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions down? I'm curious. I can think of a few. And for me, it has been, unfortunately, Facebook, the news, Twitter, and I don't want to say Instagram, but Instagram's just slightly different because you get a little bit more pictures instead of like stories and takes on things, or at least for the people that I followed. And I'm going to tell you, I want to be a good source of power and energy for you. I want to be the source that helps to fill you up and give you positivity. But I've been guilty myself of spewing negative stuff, things that not even I would like to see. And that's normal. It's normal to go through life with an ebb and flow, right? You can't always be in the positive. You can't. And honestly, you don't know light unless you've sat in the darkness, And these last couple weeks, I have been overall good, like feeling good. But I've been sort of just observing myself and seeing what has my attention. What things am I doing that are bringing out the negative, low feelings? That low vibrational energy that is just sucking and depleting me. And the weird thing is, it is more addictive in a way than the good stuff. The stuff that disturbs your brain is the stuff that draws you in. And you feel, because it starts to perpetuate this fear, you feel the need to want to monitor it constantly. And I'm fortunate and so thankful that I have these things happen in a way, because I'm reminded of how cognizant I am of my own thoughts and my own feelings. And being in low places, I'm reminded that it's not where I want to be. And I'm reminded that pursuing happiness, pursuing positivity, pursuing love and joy and peace and clarity are hands down, without question, the journey that I want to be on. And I have to answer those questions for myself. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It doesn't. Because I believe that the sun will come out tomorrow. I believe that even if something is happening now, that's not going to be forever. And I am not going to live my life in fear. And I know I've said that so many times, but I'm going to say it again and again and again, because it's worth saying and it's worth deciding. It's worth to get up every single day and go, that's not my life. That's not my reality. And until it's knocking on my front door, I'm not going to take part in that. I am going to live my life happily, being positive until I have reason not to be. And guess what? Even when I have reason not to be, I'm still going to find a way to keep moving forward and continue to be positive, because that's the kind of life that I want to live. And I hope it's the kind of life that you want to live too. Thank you guys so much for your time. I love being here. I love sharing my thoughts with you, and I hope you enjoy them. I have my Tabbie text. You can text me at 815-374-7424. You can reach me on my Instagram account or Twitter or even Facebook. You can find me by searching for Tabbie Talks. That's Tabbie Talks, Talks. And please, guys, don't hesitate. If you're going through something, I'm here for you. I would be happy to impart just a little bit of happiness on your situation. And hopefully you're open to receiving it. And if we can get that, just don't forget that I'm here for you. I also want to encourage you, please, 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 go ahead and, if you're listening to something and there's a little thumbs up, or if you're watching this video on YouTube, leave me a comment, drop me a subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit that heart button, whatever you have to just let me know that you're out there. It's always so appreciated, and in turn, I'll keep showing back up here and giving you my best. I hope that this week is so beautiful for you. I hope that this podcast served you well. And above all, I want to just keep reminding you to continue shining your light because the world needs it. Thank you so much for listening.